You got some problems that you wanna solve? Then let's chat. That job getting on your nerves? Then let's chat. Girl, you know I can relate, so let's chat. Cause I'ma tell you what the bottom line is.
I'ma tell you what the bottom line is. I'ma tell you what the bottom line is. I'ma tell you what the bottom.
It's your girl Cece. I'm your hostess with the mostest.
I'ma tell you what the bottom line is.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Cece, and I am back with another episode of The Bottom Line Is, and this one is a special one. So I have my girl Leah here that is going to tell you how to protect yourself. We ain't talking about no weapons or nothing like that. We talking about your intellectual property and all that goes along with it. So make sure you stay tuned because this is one that you do not want to miss. So we're going to start off with Leah. Basically, give us a little bit backstory of you and what you do and why did you choose this field?
Well, thank you very much for having me. Hi, everyone. I'm Leah Johnson. I am the owner of Scamjacked, which is a company that was created out of necessity. I have been working in risk management, so fraud prevention, compliance, auditing for about the last 10 years in the financial world. And I've seen too many people become victims of fraud, whether they clicked the wrong link on an email or they ordered from a fraud website, or they got scammed because they thought that the person on the other line was their actual boyfriend. It's so many ways that people get scammed out of their money now. So I wanted to create a way that consumers can come and learn about fraud and become aware of what it is and how it impacts our everyday life so that they can be prepared should something happen. So it's been a really great journey of creating these courses, doing the webinars, talking to different people to understand really what it is that they're doing that allows fraud to happen to like that. Oh, hold on. Mm-hmm. To understand what they're doing that gives fraudsters a way in. Because Sierra, you know that they have LifeLock, right?
Oh yeah.
And then there's fraud alerts that you can get on your bank account. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't stop fraud from occurring. Right. It just detects it if it ever does happen. Well, fraudsters are getting really smart. So they're calling you from numbers with similar area codes to yours, or they are sending you emails that are similar to the sales emails that you get. And so they're finding ways to get in. And so Scamjacked was created just to help to make sure that you know how not to let them in.
No, for sure. And I think that your company will definitely help to fill the gaps that are out there because as you mentioned, these folks are getting smarter and smarter and it's becoming harder and harder to, kind of compete with them. And I mean, I know, and we kind of talked about this right before we started recording, but as you mentioned, people calling from the same area codes. And then if you missed a call and you're like, okay, well, is this really a spam call? Because they didn't leave a voicemail. So it must not be an important call. And I know I've tried to call those numbers back just because, and, it doesn't go through. It's not a working number. And it's just like, oh my God, the investment that they are making and trying to clone people's voices. I mean, I'm like, at a point, are they going to a college and university on how to scam people? Like, what do we got going on? You know what I mean?
It very much feels that way. Fraudsters are very strategic and they study people. Gotcha. And that's what it is. So we're just going about our day, la, 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 la. Just like car salesmen know how to sell cars. You look at the top salesperson, they know what a person may get because they've seen it time and time again. Scammers keep using the same tactics because it works. They do this romance scams, not just on you, but on multiple people. And they know that at least half those people are going to give them some kind of return. They keep doing it because it works. And so they study people. They understand how people operate, just like that one guy in town who's messing around with everybody uses the same line over and over and over again. Scammers will absolutely use the same script over and over and over again. Hey, it's your grandson, grandma, I'm stuck on the side of the road. Can you send me $200? I need to get a tow truck. Or, hey, we're about to send the police to your house because you didn't pay for your IRS bill. Or if you don't verify your information, we're going to stop your benefits. Like they use all these tactics because it works.
Right. No, for sure. And, when you first told me about your company, one of the things that I did think about was for those of you in the corporate world, they now require it, the IT department, that you go through all of these computer trainings on scams and frauds and things like that. Phishing, that's the word.
Yes.
Those exercises. And then they'll randomly send test emails, and then if you fail it, then you got to go through the training all over again. So, and those can be just something similar to like kind of, I guess, find out which one is a phishing email because things are spelled wrong. And correct me if I'm wrong, like things are spelled wrong, or the email address isn't the right email, or then, people get corporate email saying, oh, I want to change my direct deposit, and their titles, everything, like the font and everything will look all kind of funky and stuff. Those are things that come to my mind. So feel free to elaborate. But that's, I know people that are in the corporate world, at least they get a little bit of that, but that's only for their corporate life, not their personal life.
That's very true. So phishing with the PH for your audience, it's phishing with the PH, not phishing with an F. What it is where the scammers will send you an email, a text message, or something that gets you to click into the email, download the information, or to click a link so that you can put in your information there. One of the ones that made the news about corporate emails going out as tests, and it was so sad. On Valentine's Day, when they're at work, the IT decided, hey, we're going to send a test email out to the team and say, hey, there's a delivery at the front desk. Please click the link to let me know when you're coming down here. And over half click the link.
Wow.
It's Valentine's. Why would
people are looking for those gifts? They're like, nobody cared about me. Right. But literally, like, I understand that the cruel side of it, but honestly, that's how it works. When you're waiting for a sale because you saw that some earrings that you wanted were really beautiful, you wanted those earrings, or you really wanted this service, or you really wanted this product, and scammers will use that and they will send you information, or you get that fake text message that says, hey, sorry, I can't make it. And you're like, who can't make it? Nobody's coming to my house. I don't even know what this number is. Right. And there's that temptation to text back and say, hey, wrong number. How many people are texting the wrong number in 2025? Why are you texting the wrong number, ma'am? I need you to do better. Okay. Aside from CC. That was 2023. Okay. 2023.
Okay. 2025. We're not texting the wrong number. If somebody texts you and says, hey, I can't make it, or I'm running late, can we reschedule? That is a phishing attempt. They are trying to get you to respond so they know that the number works. So then they can pass it on to their people and keep calling and texting you to see if they can get information. Because at some point you're going to break. At some point you're going to click a link. At some point you're going to respond to a text. At some point you're going to open an email. They want to verify that there's a real person on the other side of that communication so they can continue to send information there.
Is that why when we sign up for certain things, we have to check that box? Like, this is not a robot? Is it go along with the two? Are the two related or?
Not really. So when you have to do CAPTCHA is verifying that there's not a bot signing up for the site, because bots are not just internet trolls. Bots are everywhere. When you say that you get those phone calls and it's from a number that looks similar to your area code,
right? And
you call the number back and it's not a working number, robocall. So they come up with these fake numbers. They come up with these they come up with the CAPTCHA to make sure that you're not a bot signing up for their product, signing up for their website, because they want to verify that you are in fact human. So that's a part of risk management for that company, but it's not necessarily fraud. They're just weeding out like real people versus the bots.
Right. And I wanted to bring that up because I know, and I can speak for myself, for some people it might seem annoying to do that, but I think because people don't realize the importance, of it as well, and the why behind it. So I did want to touch base on that. So, to kind of just sum it up for a sec, you talked about like the ways that people are being exposed. So, whether it's by phone, email, text message, what else are you seeing? Like social media? What are some other ways that people could potentially be exposed?
Social media is huge. It is huge. Between January 2021 and June 2023, there were reported by the FTC $2.7 billion in fraud.
Wow.
And that's 18 months, 2.7 billion. That's not just online shopping. That's not like, that is social media. Okay.
Right.
Social media did that. So what does that look like? It looks like Aaron Pierre, for example, who famously said that he's not on social media, you getting a DM saying, hey, this is Aaron Pierre, and I really want to connect with my fans. So I have this account that I use as like a backup page to really don't tell anybody, but I just really want to get to know you.
I've seen those accounts, especially.
First of all, I don't post anything Aaron Pierre. Why would you think that I want to talk to Aaron Pierre, right? Or when the one lady who made the news, she said that she was in a relationship with Brad Pitt because Brad Pitt sent her an email or sent her a DM and said, hey, and this woman is semi-famous, like she's in the background famous. She has money, but she's not like an actress or anything.
Right.
But she's in the middle of getting a divorce. She starts dating Brad Pitt, some scammer, and he goes, oh no, I'm sick. Can you send me money? And she's like, well, yeah, sure. I got it. I can send you a couple $1,000 for treatment or whatever. And one, why does Brad Pitt need money? Two,
yeah, that's
what are we doing? Yeah. So there's the crazy thing is just when you see other people, a fraud happen to other people, you may say, I would never fall for that, but there is something that you might fall for. So don't think that you're impervious just because you wouldn't fall for this type of romance scam. But if the right looking guy or the right looking girl happens to come across your feed and they show you a little bit of attention, there's a possibility where you can be open to a fraudster coming in.
Wow.
And it's not just the fake accounts. It's also the people who are content creators. Hey, pay us this and we'll promote your account. Pay us this and we will give you X. Pay us this and we will give you Y. Pay us this and we'll give you Z. And so what happens is we have a lot of social media platforms. Oh, especially with like for example, the LA fires. Whenever we have a major disaster happen, it's almost better to not donate to via social media platforms,
right,
than it is to donate and it be a fake situation. So during the LA fires, they had a bunch of charities come up, right? All these charities come out the woodwork, charities you haven't heard of before, and charities whose pages are spoofed. Spoofed just means that they were cloned and it's fake. So what happens is they say, hey, donate to us. We really need help. We got a bunch of clothes. We just need money to buy food, yada, yada, yada. So you're like, oh man, I really want to help. Let me just slide you $20. But you didn't verify to see if that was a real charity site. It's best to verify on I would go to the LA City site because they have a list of charities that they work with and you can give to them. Another thing that I saw, which was really unfortunate. So, Commander-in-Chief decided that he wanted to stop federal aid. And so a bunch of students were going to be impacted by this. A bunch of people who had Social Security, food stamps, things like that. So they have Facebook groups who are support groups who are going through this. And so all the students were like, the semester just started, like, I need money for this or whatever, blah, blah. So they put resources in those groups to say, hey, these are resources that you can click on. Well, if there's a fraudster in there, which unfortunately in this situation it was, who said, hey, sign up for the wait list. We'll put you on the wait list for, normally the wait list is like $5 or $10. We'll put you on the wait list for $30 to push you up to the front, to make sure you get up to the front. Make sure you get resources. That was a scam. A bunch of people signed up, and now these students are out of more money. So
it's on us. Like, what in the world?
Yeah, I'm telling you, there is a fraud for every need a legitimate need that a person has.
Right.
It's very easy for these fraudsters who have no moral compass. They're just trying to make the next quick buck. So they have the get rich quick ones. They have the pig butchering scam, which is more of long term. We could talk about that later. But they have so many different levels of fraud that you may not click the link. You may not accept the friend request. But if you're on a dating site, and it's funny because I got one, I got a screenshot the other day. This guy was talking to this girl and says, hey, I really like you. You're beautiful, blah, blah. She's like, oh, thanks. Great, blah, blah. What do you do? And he was like, hey, I don't always get notifications on here. It's really hard to chat. No, that's what he said. It's really hard to chat on this site. Can I get your number and we can talk via text? No. First of all, you've only exchanged 4 messages. Why would I give you my number?
Right.
Sir, this obviously has worked with somebody before, but you don't be that person.
Yeah.
Don't be that person.
Yeah, I got catfished on a dating site.
Yeah.
out
And
there.
we're not catfishing, like we're not falling for the catfish anymore. Like it's 2025. We need to be more vigilant. We need to ask more questions. We need to be less forgiving when things are not adding up. What do you mean it's hard to chat? Like one of the features that I saw that even what's the other site? The yellow one, Bumble. Even that site, now they have in chat video and audio calls.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we not talking to people? Why are we not doing
So
this?
you don't have to exchange numbers. That's
you
true.
don't.
Yes.
You don't. If you want to talk to this person, yes. And you have audio voice memos that you can send. Like there's no reason to give this person more information because the point of the fraudster is to collect money and or data. Wow. Protect your money or data. There's no reason for us to be catfished. Right. I know it sounds good. Oh my gosh, she texts me every day. Oh my gosh, she always checks in on me and she sends me pictures telling me that she's thinking of me. I always get that grand rising. I always get this good morning. Oh, they talk to me first thing in the morning and before they go to bed at night. They are sending that message to 20 other people. Get your life together. Go make a friend outside. Please make a friend outside.
That's facts.
Like
oh my gosh. But when you were talking, I was thinking too, the new craze now is AI.
Yes.
Is there any connection with AI and fraudsters? How does that work?
Oh, AI makes it a lot easier.
That's what
AI makes fraud a lot easier for these scammers because now they don't have to come up with stuff. They don't have to come up with a script. They can just use AI. And the more that us people who are not fraudsters are using AI, we're learning how not to tell the difference between a real person writing it and AI writing it, which is a combination of AI getting better, but also it's us getting worse at looking for the context clues and understanding like how people are talking and what that looks like. So if I know if I'm texting my father, I know what my father's texting patterns are because I know the way he talks. I grew up with him, know him, all this other stuff. I've been talking to him like my whole life. So I know what his speech patterns are. If he started using AI, I would be able to tell the difference. However, if I'm talking to somebody on social media, now social media can come across too proper if you're using AI sometimes, but AI has gotten better at being able to use more colloquialisms. So it's a little bit harder sometimes to decipher like, hey, are you a real human? Are you a real person? Is this your real speech pattern? Things like that. So and then what AI has also given us is the ability to spoof voices. So if a scammer gets you on the phone, so I don't know if you've ever gotten these calls, but this is how I've seen it happen. Now there's other ways for it to happen, but this is how I've seen it happen. Okay. AI collects a lot of data. And so so their output is similar to what they've collected. If you get a call and it's a robocall and you're saying hello and they, oh, hello, can you hear me? Oh, hello. Yeah, hello, can you hear me? I'm trying to get this and blah, blah, blah. And they're just trying to keep you on the phone to keep you talking, right? They collect your voice data and then they call your mom. Hey mom, it's me. I really need help. I'm stuck. Can you send money to my friend? My phone is about to die.
That's wild. I know.
So that it's good and bad because whenever we make progress, there's always going to be people to exploit that progress for their own gain. I mean, look at the presidency. But we have people when we try to make progress going forward, right? There's always going to be someone looking selfishly at what they can gain from it and how they can exploit it. Because in some people's minds, if you're not cheating, you're not trying to win.
Unfortunately, that's America.
Hey.
And I can tell too when I'm going to get like one of those spam calls because if I say hello, I hear like a little click. And then they do the hello, like all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, hang up.
Yeah. So you don't, if you think that it might be important, answer the phone. Don't say anything. Like even put it on mute. Don't say anything. Wait till they come on the phone because sometimes you're waiting for an important call, right? So if you have an appointment scheduled or if you're a caretaker, especially, and it could be the person who you're caring for, the doctor's office or, someone from the law office or whatever, some important call that you're waiting for and you're not sure, but answer the phone and see if it's another person on the phone. Now it can sound like another person, but I don't know if you've ever worked in like collections or anything like that, but from what they're describing, it sounds like the same thing in collections. Your phone number is put into an auto dialer. And if a human answers the phone, like you, so they call you on the auto dialer, you
Right.
answer the phone, you say hello, they're like, oh, okay, we got one. And so they'll put you through to a regular person. They'll let the recording play. And then the real person will pick up and say, oh, hello. Yes, here's the scam of the day. Provide us your information.
That's wild. Now, and this episode is not to scare anybody. It's to really make you aware of the things that are going on in 2025, right?
Mhm.
And when we think about all these things and it's opening up our minds, our eyes, I often think about, which I talk a lot in my podcast episodes, is the vulnerable population, our elders, our senior community. And so, what are some things that we can do to protect them, or because these are our grandparents. So what can we do to help them out? Because we're not there with them all the time.
That's true. That's true. And we know our elders love their independence.
Yes.
They love their independence. So it makes it hard. Oh, it makes it hard. Because you want to tell them, stop answering the phone. Right. Stop giving out your information. What I have found is with that population, typically there is such a respect for authority, that if someone calls with an authoritative voice and saying that they need to verify information, they'll willingly give it over the phone.
Right.
It works. They do it by and large because that's what's being reported.
Mm-hmm.
But if you know that there's a landline, you can buy a call blocker that comes preloaded with a bunch of numbers that will be blocked. You can also add numbers as they come in to block them. Your phone company has a way to block. You can call your phone company and verify how to turn the feature on, how much it's going to cost. It's some nominal fee, like $5 or $6 a month, something like that. And doing research on it, AT&T, Verizon, CenturyLink all have it. Mm-hmm. So it's good to just call them and say, hey, I want to turn this feature on. How do I use it? The other way is, like, if you're the person that you're caring for, if the elder is home by themselves and the family calls and asks for money on a regular basis because Jojo needs this, or Zay needs this, or Michelle needs this, whatever, and they're calling the elder for money, and that's a regular thing, that's okay. Right. Then come up with some kind of password. And so one person who I talked to said that their password is the age. So he'll just say, oh, Michelle, blah, 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 66. And if Michelle does not answer with her age at that time, then they're going to end the call.
Right.
Or peanut butter or strawberries, whatever it is, like, know how to discreetly use the password on the phone so they verify what it is. Now, because if you tell a fraudster what's the password, the fraudster's gonna, what do you mean? I didn't get the new password of the week, whatever it is. Like, you have to figure out where your elder is and their cognitive function to be able to understand that they need a password in order to give out information. The great thing is, even if it is an urgent thing where the bank thinks that, like there was one, if the bank calls and says, hey, somebody has your card and we need to verify the card number before we can go forward. You're the bank. Why do you need my card number?
Exactly.
Why do you need what do you mean? Why do you need my card number? What are we doing here? We need to, or the store calls and says, hey, there was a woman in here trying to use your card. First of all, why do you have my number?
Right.
My phone number is not on the card. But it happens where they say they're calling from some store. And it's like, no, I would tell them, okay, call the police. Let the woman get arrested. Well, we just want to verify. No, shut up the card. It's fine.
Yeah, it's like if we just all like took a moment to like kind of think about the concept that is actually going on, I think we would put two and two together. But it's just like we're in our daily lives, the hustle and bustle. And they know that. And I think that's what catches us, off guard too. And I know with the senior population, one, they could either be afraid to at some point to answer the calls, or I know my grandmother, she don't even answer the phone that much. She's like, oh, it's just another spammer calling. It's probably those people. She said, what I mean? And I don't want her to not answer, look at the caller ID, as well. So like, what advice would you give to us to say to our grandparents and, when it comes to trust or, just advice to combat this?
So there's 3 things that I always look for to verify if it's fraud. And if it hits 2 of these things, I'm hanging up, I'm disengaging, whether or not it's fraud or not. Because if it's a situation where my information is really needed and that entity is calling me, I will call them back. If it's my bank saying, hey, we need to verify your information, give me your name, please. Give me the department that you're calling from. And then I'm going to call the bank back.
Right.
Will we need this? No. I'm going to call the bank back. Most institutions understand how prevalent fraud is. So they'll be patient with you verifying the information. Okay. So what I tell everybody, and this is for everybody, like you said, we're not trying to scare people. And I don't want people to feel like they have to live in fear. Like, obviously, keep your head on a swivel. Don't click links. But 3 things that I look for: urgency, evasion, and emotion. If this person is telling you they urgently need you to do something, that means, like you said, act without thinking. I need you to hurry up. If I don't get the last word of social, I'm turning off your benefits. If you don't hurry up and give me this money, the IRS is sending the police after you. You're going to be arrested. There's a warrant out for your arrest. If you don't hurry up and take advantage of the sale, you're going to miss out. Right? Different levels of urgency. Now, emotion is a really big one, because if our emotions are not in check, we can act out without understanding the impacts of those actions. Right? So if you're frustrated, like I had someone who was doing Uber, and the person, they're in the middle of dropping somebody off. Like, the person is literally getting out the car and they're getting pinged with another ride. Okay, let me go ahead and accept the ride. Sir, have a good day. They get a phone call. Hey, it's Uber. We need to verify your information. This is his first day doing Uber. He's not like, he's just like, oh my gosh, it took like 2.5 weeks for you guys to verify my information, and we had to go back and forth. And it's now I'm frustrated, right? And now you're calling me again. What are you doing? So and somebody's getting out. I'm going for another ride. You're telling me that if I don't verify my information with you right now, you're going to shut down my app and I can't work. What are you talking? Okay, what do you need from me? What do you need from me? So you're stressed, you're agitated, you're frustrated, and so you just want to hurry up and end the interaction.
Right.
Unfortunately, it was a scam, and that scammer was able to get all of their earnings of that day. So do not let your emotions run you. It's okay to pause, stop, and think. I know you want to hurry up and end the interaction, but if your emotions are high, you're not going to make a good decision, especially if you haven't seen this kind of fraud coming.
Right.
And then the last one is evasion. Evasion, we typically think of like a passive situation, a person not answering the questions. If you ask a direct question, what department are you calling from? Oh, I'm calling from the IRS. What department in the IRS? Oh, I'm calling from the IRS. Okay, well, what's your name? Samuel. How can I verify your information? I can send you a picture of a badge. What?
Oh, that's what we doing now. Like,
what? I can get a picture of it. Let me Google a picture of a badge real quick. That's supposed to verify you. When they're being evasive and they're answering like, why is there going to be why are you calling the police? Why are you doing this? That's not what this process is. Can you explain to me the process of how we got here? Well, we need to verify this information. Why? Because it's not verified. Well, why? Why is it not verified? I was at the bank earlier. Well, yeah, but we have to do If you're not getting direct answers, disengage. Pull the ripcord, get out. Hang up the phone. Use the phone numbers on the back of your card to call your bank, or use a verified number to call that entity. Do not call back do not call the caller back. Do not verify with the caller. Like I said, most entities understand, as someone who's been in finance for the last 10 years, the entities understand how prevalent fraud is. They're not going to get frustrated with you for wanting to verify. I used to work in AML, and I would have to call people or answer the phone when people call in and verify their transactions in the anti-money laundering department. I'm asking them questions about their transactions, and I'm like, you can absolutely go to the branch if there's a local branch to you, or you can send an email, whatever the case, whatever makes you feel comfortable. But we have to get these transactions verified, because I was in AML and anti-money laundering, and so I had to verify this information. But we understood that people were not comfortable doing this. So don't feel like they're going to get upset with you, and don't be bashful about, nope, I want to protect my information. I'd rather go into the branch. I'd rather call the company directly, or I'd rather wait to get information in the mail to verify, because you can request, hey, if this is legitimate, send me a letter.
That's true.
Yeah. So don't get caught up in all of the emotion of you have to do it now, and
Right.
you're getting stressed and frustrated and they're not answering your questions directly. Look out for those red flags, urgency, emotion evasion. Look out for those things and understanding what ways those can play out, because that's what we really teach in Scamjacked, is learning how those three things show up in all the fraud situations where you need to ask more information, you need to disengage because it is fraud, you're not sure, so still walk away because you don't need to get more involved than you already are. And that's really what we talk about, to really empower people so that they are aware of what it is so they can take action. It's about just keeping your head on a swivel.
It really is, like, literally, and it's only going to get worse, unfortunately. So, and we didn't talk about this before, but as you were talking, I was thinking about, I get those letters in the mail saying companies' information has been shared and my information may be compromised. I mean, I get notes from my grandmother who has been deceased now for 6 years. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
How does that work?
So if your information was a part of a breach, typically there are news articles about that breach. Typically. Okay. Not all the time, but typically. You should be able to call a verified number. And when I say verified, you cannot verify the information from the original source. So say, for instance, if I
say that one more time for the people back.
You cannot prove a thing with a thing. So if the caller says, because they can spoof, remember they cloned the phone number, they can spoof and say, I'm calling from the bank. Okay, I need to verify that you're calling from the bank. You cannot verify with them that they are actually calling from the bank.
Got it.
You need a second source that verifies what they're saying is true. So what I would do when I was in AML, I would say, hey, this is my employee ID number. Go to the branch and give it to the branch person. They can look me up. That is how you prove something to be true. So if you get those letters saying that your information was in a breach, whatever the case, it should be an informative email that tells you what information was leaked and when, right? So if somebody was able to access the Equifax website, all your information on there was leaked. Okay, so let me go ahead, verify, like check your credit report, check and make sure that you have a freeze on your credit report if necessary, so that nobody's taking your information and trying to open up new accounts with your social security number or anything like that. If your passwords were leaked, if, for example, your Facebook information was leaked and it was a part of a breach, change your passwords. Make sure you're not, I know it sounds silly, but I'm going to say it anyway.
I know what you're about to say.
Do not use the same password for everything, because if you have the same password for Facebook, which is the same password for Instagram, which is the same password for your bank, which is the same password for your email, all the scammer has to do is access one of those to access everything. And then your whole digital footprint is compromised.
Now, what is digital footprint? Talk about that.
Your digital footprint is your life online. So it is your shopping, it is your social media, it is your email, anything digitally, anything that's on here, digital.
Okay.
It is your banking app. It's everything. Your digital footprint needs to be protected at all costs. So please use a password manager. Apple and Android Apple and Google have password managers that you can use to make sure that you're using complicated and unique passwords across all platforms, so that if they happen to access your Macy's password and look at your Macy's information, they will not then be able to access your banking account because you're using different passwords.
Right. No, that's for sure.
I know it sounds silly, but
I'm pretty sure a lot of people do that because you have so many things that you have to use a password for, and it's like it's so easy to just use the same thing. But to your point, if they're getting smarter, we got to be just as smart. We got to be one step ahead and be creative when we're doing that, and don't make it something as simple as your child's name or your pet name and stuff like that. I hear that on TV. I mean,
they're like, use your pet's name and the last four of your phone number, and ma'am.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah, because those things are easy for them to figure out too. So yeah, but that's wild. But no, that's good information. And what are some other things that, well, actually, before I even ask that question, you mentioned early on too about certain programs that are made to protect us. So I want people to kind of understand what those programs actually do
Mhm.
compared to what actually we may need, or if we are a victim, just understanding the different, I guess, categories and steps of the process, if you will.
Yes, absolutely. So, like I said, LifeLock is the
Mhm.
detective. You can have a credit freeze. That is a preventative. That
Mhm.
means that nobody will be able to will be able to access, even if they have your social security number, they cannot apply for credit without that freeze being lifted. So that's
Mhm.
preventative.
Okay.
What Scamjacked is preventative. The courses that we offer are resources that you can use to make sure that there are no gaps in your security. So it's good to have like your virus wear, right? Your
I'm
virus
just
wear will
sitting
tell
here
you.
thinking about the virus. I was just thinking about, oh, that could
Because if
fit.
you click a link, it looks like a virus is on your computer because you have a
Right.
keylogger now, right? And what happens is, and oh, let me go back real quick. Um, if your if you happen to click a link
Mhm.
and it gets and you now notice that your something's going on with your laptop and you realize that that email that you clicked into to give over your information was not a legitimate email, please
Mhm.
take your computer to your local authorities and let them wipe your computer for any keyloggers or malware.
Okay.
Okay, the police will do it. When I worked in, and I only remember hearing about this because I worked in a senior community, and when one gets it, everybody's gotten it. And we
Wow.
know there's a fraud ring coming around because so many people were getting hit. And you click a link and you think you're going into one website and it's actually downloading this information. Please make sure you take your computer, because our lives are typically on our computers and on our phones. Take it in to get it wiped, to get it looked at, to make sure that there are no keyloggers, there's no malware, no anything like that where people are collecting your data. Now, if it's just a virus where it's crashing your computer, you can probably take it to Best Buy or Geek Squad or whatever, or what's it called, the Genius Bar,
Mhm.
to get that looked at. But if there is something where you think it's fraud happening, you want to report it to the local authorities. So resources. Um, resources. So you have your LifeLock, you have your antivirus wear, you have your credit freezes, you have your bank alerts. So anytime a transaction happens, verify that. But it's not just fraud is not a set it and forget it kind of thing.
Mm.
People are evolving. We think about how in our grandparents' time, the microwave really huge, the car really huge, and
Yeah.
think about from the time we graduated high school to where we are today. Like, it's crazy to think 20
Yeah.
years ago,
Oh,
when Japan, I think Japan had it first, to put your credit card on your phone and pay with your phone. And now it's just a regular thing. Think
yeah.
about how fast technology is moving. That's how much we have to stay up to date with what it is. So when we're talking about fraud, you can absolutely comb through the internet and look for different things. But what Scamjack does is curate that information so that you get what you need. They help you to understand what it is that is happening in the fraud escape so you know
Mhm.
what to look out for. So maybe before it was they were sending emails, and now it's that they're sending texts. And maybe before, maybe 5-10 years ago, they were calling from 800 numbers to look official, but now they're calling from numbers that look like your hometown, right?
Right.
So the ever-changing landscape of fraud is something that we have to keep up with to make sure that we're aware. And then now that we have our elders who are like, well, I just want to pay my bill with this way, or I'd rather pay in person, or I'd rather do this. Or we have our younger kids who are growing up, the teens and tweens, who are now using social media and they don't know the difference between what information is public and what information should be kept private. Because if they're taking pictures and videos in front of their house saying, oh, I'm at this street, I'm at this place, you don't want to give everybody your location.
Yeah, I know. We taught that in our caregiver orientation. Like, do not take pictures in front of the client's house. That's a security breach. Yeah.
You don't want to, you want to have these conversations regularly. As often as you have the safe sex conversation, have the safe financial conversation. As much
Actually,
as
do
we
it
talk
more
about,
because people
yeah,
don't have that conversation enough either. So do it more.
you know what? You are absolutely
Yeah.
right.
So,
You're everybody's
put that
got,
out.
yeah, okay. As often as you talk about, as often, even more so, as you talk about 15 streams of income and financial freedom and wealth management and all this other
Yep.
stuff, have the fraud conversation, because you want to protect and prevent other people from being able to access all the assets that you've built up. We talk about generation wealth. We talk about how important it is to make money and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, you can absolutely keep making money, but if you're not taking steps to protect it, then you're setting it up for you to fail.
Right.
So it's like I said, fraud is not a set it and forget it. You have all these tools and resources. And if you ever become the victim of fraud, there are absolutely steps that you can take to make sure that you protect yourself and to try to recoup your money. Because I had my previous landlord, he lost $30,000 because he verified some information while he was in Mexico. So there are multitude of ways that scammers use to get to you. That's their job. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Think about the person that you know. If you give them a name and an age and they can find everything about that person, okay, that's scammers times 1,000.
That's true.
That's what they do. You're not and I understand that reporting it can feel shameful. It can be embarrassing. It can be hard. Like, how can I be this dumb to fall for this? Like, I see it clearly that it's a scam, but it's not that you're dumb. Like, scammers are just really, really good at what they do.
Yeah.
They are
it's
very
like we're
good at
our
what they
jobs
do.
that we do every day. That's their everyday job. So.
Every day, multiple times a day.
Yeah.
And so it seems like it should be something that is taught alongside of wealth management and financial growth and all this other stuff. But it's something that you really have to make sure that you're talking with your family about on a regular basis. You're talking with your community about it, because the one person who ordered, they got an email, hey, Bath and Body Works is having a sale, because Bath and Body Works always has a sale. Yeah. And they click the link, they order about $100 worth of stuff, and 2 weeks later, I ordered some stuff from Bath and Body Works, and it was a person in their community who said, I got a Bath and Body Works email too, but when I looked at it, it said Bath and Body Works with an X, not an S. And they almost got me. And when she went back to go look at her statement, it sure did. Bath and Body Works with an X. And so she had to report it. So
Bed Bath and Beyond. It was like, we're having a closing sale, which I knew that the stores were closing. And I'm like, oh wow, they got stuff for like $3.
Yeah.
I'm guilty. So please know that you are human. This happened to you. It's okay. And I was like, where is my stuff? You know, and then I looked on my credit card and I saw that charge was on there. So I called my credit card company as soon as I saw that and said, fraud. Go ahead. Yeah. So yeah.
Please report it. Don't just eat that loss, because the only reason why the FTC has the information is because what's being reported. And the highest number of people, the age group that reports the most are 20 to 29. They're the ones who are mostly impacted. So it's really important to make sure that when fraud does happen, that you change your passwords. You figure out if you need a new account number or a new debit card. You figure out what was impacted and how to make sure that you protect that for future steps or for future reference. And then you want to make sure that whatever you're doing, you report the information and then talk to your community about it. It can feel shameful, but the more you talk about it, the less shameful it is.
It should be shameful. Like, you want to save everything you worked hard for. You don't want somebody to just take it. I think the shame comes from a couple different places. One of the main places that I see when I talk to people who have been defrauded is that they were greedy and they wanted to be a part of the Lotus Flower thing, where they put in $50 and 30 days later they get 500. Right.
And so it's like no risk in this. Yeah. All the reward. No risk in investing.
Yeah.
Fraud, definitely. But if you don't know, you don't know.
That when it looks too good to be true, it's probably not. Is that how it goes?
Yeah. Everything that glitter ain't gold.
Yeah.
Right. So if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. If you're seeing everybody else sell a car for $200,000, somebody selling it for $20,000 is not a steal. Right. It's probably stolen, but it's not a steal. Like, that's not a legitimate purchase.
No, I get
There's some people still posting on Facebook Marketplace. There was a video recently about two guys who showed up to a house and they're like, hey, this is you, right? And he was like, well, that's my Facebook. Wait, what? They found out somebody spoofed his Facebook profile, cloned it,
Wow.
spoofed his Facebook profile, and said that he was selling a classic car because he needed to sell it, to pay for it, whatever.
You just can't trust nothing.
And they show up. They drove 2 hours to go buy it, and the guy was like, I'm sorry. This is did you exchange money? And he was like, well, I gave him a down payment.
Wow.
In the video, they didn't say how much it was.
Right.
But
yeah, well, for a classic car, that was probably a pretty penny.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. So really, 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 really be careful with what information you give out, with be skeptical. Be skeptical. Trust yourself. If something doesn't feel right, even if you can't give words to it, even if you can't articulate why you don't feel good about this,
right?
Trust yourself to say, even if I miss out on this, I'm okay.
Gotcha.
Even if I really wish I would have. Nope. Trust yourself. Yeah. Trust yourself. If you're supposed to have some come up, there's no quick way to success. There's no get rich quick scheme that works. Mm-hmm. All these people who are like, 15 streams of income, sign up for my course. I'll show you how to write a book to create a book for 15 streams of income. Like there's too many ways that people say you can get rich by putting blah, blah, blah. No, it literally takes work day in and day out. Find what you're passionate at, find out where you can serve and go that route, because trying to just get money to get money or try to get money to get over, because there's so many loan scams, there's so many Facebook scams, so many social media scams as a whole. And then online shopping, I can't even get into that because that's a whole other conversation. But there's so many, there's so many different ways that scammers get in, that all you need to know, you don't have to study all the ways that they get in. You just need to know what you can do to protect yourself and understand there are resources. There is recourse. If you got frauded out of something, report it back to your bank. Now, if you're a person reporting fraud every month, your bank might not want to keep doing business with you, because why do you keep putting yourself in the way of fraud? Because there was one, and then some people are afraid because they know who did it. For example, you hear these stories all the time, and it's really unfortunate. These kids who are 18, 19, 20 years old who are like, okay, I'm ready to buy my first car, and they go check their credit report, and their credit score is like a 520 when they thought it was a 720. And they pull their credit report. Turns out their guardians, their parents are pulling out credit cards in their name.
Thing. I remember hearing that when I was a teenager, that people were doing that. And I said, the audacity, just because you messed up yours, why would you, start your child off the wrong way? Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. And here's where the financial institutions are starting to push back on, is that you didn't open up this credit card? No, I didn't open up this credit card. Do you know who opened up the credit card? Because it shows that the statements are going to your house.
Right.
Here's what we'll do. We'll count it as fraud if you press charges.
That's like one of those drop mic moments.
Yeah. if you are willing to press charges, because we have a feeling that you know who it is, since the statements are going to your house.
Right.
We have a feeling that you know who it is.
Right. Yeah.
So since you know who it is and you're not willing to say, there might be a chance that you may be benefiting from this money. So we'll count it as fraud after you press charges. And then you get the whole thing of, if they haven't gone to default yet, of the parents or the guardians saying, don't send me to jail. I was doing it to take care of this, to do this, da, da, da. There was one story where the stepfather is the one who did it. And he went out, bought a boat and everything.
Now, how did he get access?
Listen,
God.
It happens. It happens. And so reporting it, understanding what your rights are, understanding how to get it back, understanding what happens, because even if you have, like, some insurances cover fraud. Some insurances cover identity protect. Like, there's so many different things that you can do to protect yourself, so many different resources. And we cover a lot of that in the courses. And there's a ways that you can make sure that you are aware, even if it's in your peripheral, even if it's just out here. It doesn't have to be your focus, but even if it's just out here, you can say, before I click this link, even if all you get from it is hesitating before clicking a link,
right?
I've done my job. Think about it for a second. Take a second. Don't give out information.
No, for sure. Now, you mentioned the other identity, protections. I mean, I think that, a lot of people are skeptical in giving money to that, to them. And it's,
Hmm.
I feel like it's a minuscule amount, a small amount or what have you. What advice would you give to somebody if they came to you and said, yeah, this institution keeps calling me but nobody's want to take my information. Why do I need that protection? What would your response be?
Everybody thinks it's not going to be them.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks it's not going to be them until it happens to them.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. Working in fraud, I have learned that fraudsters will absolutely play the long game.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it hasn't happened to you today doesn't mean your information is not being bought and sold on the black market to be used later.
Wow.
What I've seen is that scammers will buy and sell credit card information. There was a person, I'll tell you this, there was a person who had their credit card information stolen, and the fraudsters waited almost 3 months. Now, in between those 3 months, there was maybe $1, $2 charges here and there just to make sure it's still activated. And then when they did, it was their debit card, not their credit card. When they did finally use it, they got them for $5,000 the first time, and then the second time they tried to pull for $7,500.
Wow.
So just because it hasn't happened to you yet,
right?
Like they're still trying. And there are, like, I talked to some people who say that, oh, I don't need this kind of course. I do what I'm supposed to do. I shred my documents. I make sure that when I pay online, I get my confirmation that I sign out. I have these different passwords, things like that. The types of services that are being offered in these courses are not just stuff from 10 years ago. You could absolutely be doing what you did 10 years ago. But like I said, we went from the oven to the microwave to now air fryers, convection ovens. Like, we have so much technology is changing. And with AI, it's moving so fast.
So fast.
And you want to see how hard somebody will fight to get money? Meet a desperate person.
Yep.
A desperate person will absolutely do everything they can. And you might be the next target. You may not click a link, but you may say hi to the wrong person.
Right.
You may accept the wrong invite.
Yeah.
You may accept the wrong friend request. You may respond to a different DM, or like you said, get catfished on these dating apps.
Yeah. And we are not Miss Cleo or Mr. Cleo.
Right.
And where and how it's going to happen.
Yeah, because all it takes is a couple of hey beautifuls before they're like, hey, I left my wallet at home. Do you mind sending me like $10 on Cash App so I can get lunch? Oh, $10, I got that. Yeah, I got you, boo. Okay, cool. I can't wait to take you out on a date. Oh, that'd be great. Hey, my car ran out of gas. Can you give me $30 so I can get some gas? And I'm telling you, this happens from Good Morning Beautiful to hey, can I get $10 is less than a week.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
It's less than a week. And people are falling for it.
Need to go to a dating class. Like
they need to go outside and make friends. Go outside and make friends so that you can stop being bamboozled by these people.
Oh my God.
Go outside and make some friends.
I know. I think this was an amazing conversation. I think and I hope that everybody, learned more ways on how to protect themselves. And you kind of already highlighted, but just to sum it up, as far as your course, how can they, sign up for the course? Like, when is your next session? Is it online, virtual, in person? Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So first of all, thank you so much for having me. I really love enjoying, and I really, really, really love helping people learn more about fraud and how they can protect themselves. So the company is called Scamjacked. You can find us at scamjacked.com, and there you will find all of our social media. We're on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, you name it, we're there. And our courses are really geared toward helping people understand how to protect themselves. Because if you understand how to look for urgency, how to look for emotion, and how to look for evasion, you can 9 times out of 10 prevent yourself from being a victim of fraud. And even if you are, we have the resources and the playbook that you can follow to make sure that you can recoup as much as possible, as quickly as possible. The next session that we'll have is February 15th at 11 a.m. Pacific time via Zoom. So please make sure that you sign up on the website. There is an area for you to sign up for that webinar. And the webinars happen on a bi-monthly basis so far. And so just keep a lookout on social media, keep a lookout on our website for the next one. And I'm hoping to see you there.
That's awesome. And I know we only covered the tip of the iceberg, but please reach out to Leah if you have any questions, things that you're unsure about. Let the expert guide you, because I'm glad she's my friend, so I can ask her. And on that note, we'll close with the bottom line is you just have to really open your eyes. I mean, the world is ever changing, and we have to be able to change with it in a positive way, because unfortunately, everybody is not our friend. People are looking to get us, and we work too hard for people to get us and what we've earned. So, trust your gut, trust your instincts. If something seems a little fishy, then reach out to somebody and just look it up, or try to verify that information or that email, that contact information, or whatever the source is that is reaching out to you, because it only takes a few seconds for somebody to take your information, and those few seconds you could have used to take those extra steps to prevent it from happening. So there's plenty of resources out there. Like Leah said, make sure you check out her website, and that website will be linked in our comments as well as here on the screen. And I look forward to hearing more from you all. Tell us about your journeys. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see